Welcome back to Unplugged, Raising Resilience here at Camp Alvernia in Centerport. I'm Ben, our camp director, and with me is Badyr,
Hi,
our
folks.
assistant director.
Hey, folks.
So today's topic is going to be about navigating friendship anxiety for kids, which is a big one, right? Because we know that when kids are coming to camp, their number one question, and then the parents' number one question, of course, too, is, will I have a friend at camp? And what they're really asking is, will I be safe? Right? But that feeling of will I have a friend is huge. And that's why I think parents hear that from their kids. And so their solution is, well, let's find that one, 6-year-old or 8-year-old or even 10 or 12-year-old from school. And that's the person, and we're going to place all of our hopes and dreams on this 8-year-old that my child knows from school. But we know that that's not a reliable solution for the very real concern that that camper has. So, Badyr, we know that having a buddy at camp, somebody you already know, does feel really good, right? It's a nice security blanket, but it can't solve, right, long-term, really, the problem of connection and friendship together. So can you talk a little bit about why we actually want kids to branch out from just that one buddy, and how camp can provide basically the perfect environment for kids to do that?
I mean, look, coming in with a friend is great, but relying on them completely kind of stunts growth, like as a whole child, right? Kids want the blank slate. Yes, obviously they want to try on new versions of themselves. But you kind of get locked in when you're with that one person all day, every day. And again, I'm not saying that that's not amazing and great to spend time with a good friend. But to step out of that comfort zone is where the magic happens or the growth happens. We talk about camp being a consistent space to try new things, right? So, I've shared with you how many times when I first started working here a long time ago, long time ago, it took me 2 summers to really go out on a sailboat. I would go out on canoes, I would go on stuff like that, but growing up in the city, I did water. I would go in the pool, but I can't see the bottom. I can't see the stuff that's alive down there. Freaked me out. But I missed out, and that was on me. And it took somebody that I didn't know to say, hey, Badyr, it's all good. Come with me. I got you. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I was like, all right, we'll go. And I went out, and it was life-changing. It was one of those moments that it took that one person to say, hey, come with me. Let's do this together, to really open up a whole new world of what aquatics is like.
Right. So who was that person? Was it a staff person?
It was a staff person. It was a staff person. It was what was that person?
You don't have to tell us the name.
It was a wonderful boating staff member. They're no longer here, but they were pretty awesome.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that we always point out, is that we have over 150 staff here, and their whole job, the whole reason why they're here, is to be here with your children and to look for those opportunities to encourage kids to get out of their comfort zone, to venture past the things that they already know how to do and they already feel comfortable doing, into something that might feel a little bit new. And things that are new feel a little bit scary, right? So we want to make sure that camp provides a consistent space to try new things.
Yes.
Right? So camp, I feel like there are these barriers that kids face.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
That are in the way all the time when it comes to putting themselves out there. One of the assets that we have as a screen-free summer camp is that we remove the most significant barrier. Any guesses what that one might be? Obviously, you can't answer me. But yeah, I mean, kids have a real fear of the camera, right? We all have cameras, and it's really special, and we get to record all of life's moments. But from the time that child was a baby, and I did the exact same thing with my son, he was on video, right? Every moment of his sleeping life was on video, and I was watching on the monitor, and is he still breathing and all that. And then when they were walking around, all of the milestones, we had the camera going, we had the video. And it wasn't even just, let's try to capture the first step because this is important. It was everything. It wasn't just the big fun moments like first time at the park or going to, a fall festival and picking a pumpkin. It was all the little stuff too. I mean, we'd be out just, I don't know, eating breakfast somewhere. And he did something really quiet. Do it again. Do it really, really quiet. He did something really cute. Do it again. Get him to do it again so I can get it on camera. And we posted all of those photos and videos online for all of our friends to see, and honestly for all of the strangers to see. We did that, right? As the parents. And it's only continued as kids got older and they got their own devices. They followed our lead. Let's own it, parents. They followed our lead and they got on the phones and they got hooked and they started recording each other. And anytime something interesting or fun or silly or even embarrassing happened, they were there recording and they were posting and commenting and Snapchatting and telling their friends about it. So it led to, I think, a feeling of, as a child nowadays in 2026, I feel like I'm living in this strange futuristic world where there are cameras on everything that I'm doing. So what does that do for a child, especially one that is just forming their identity and their growth? Well, what ends up happening is they're terrified to be silly. They're afraid to fail because it might be recorded. That's one of the reasons why Camp Alvernia is not old-fashioned. We're very forward-looking because we're looking at this problem that kids are wrestling with, and it's a very, very real one.
Yeah.
When we can give them a digital detox here at camp,
Huge.
they can drop that guard that they have up. I don't want to look silly. I don't want to try anything new. So because we're able to provide emotional safety in this digital world, it means we can remove the audience so the kids don't feel like they have to perform for each other.
I completely agree. I mean, from an educator's perspective, I can say that when the phones are gone, you see the physical change. You see the shoulders go back, right? Because everybody's used to doing this or kind of laying back, right? Believe it or not, it actually affects their body. It's like there's this hunch posture.
Tech neck?
Yeah, tech neck. It's all like this, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing that? And I know I've been a couple of them, like Ken, talking to my son, Kenzo, straighten your back out, shoulders back. He kind of like looks at me like, why? I'm like, well, because again, being off that, being like here at camp, you can see the difference. They start making eye contact more.
Mm-hmm.
They start asking more questions because then you become curious about the environment around you, right? So, I've heard people say, well, being on a phone or a tablet is like, well, people used to do that all the time with a book. Nah, not even close.
Mm-hmm.
Not even close to the same. Just coaching real world communication by saying, you know what, having your back up, leaning
Mm-hmm.
forward, making eye contact, nodding your head just like you're doing right now. All that matters. And a lot of times, because we've been on that camera, we kind of curate this version of ourselves and we're not on our authentic selves. So we want to create that organic space where we're building memories together, we're having fun, we're laughing. And I'm sure all the parents out there can think, when we had some of the best memories ever made, there was no camera around, right? Whether it was jumping in a puddle, whether it was, hanging out with my friends, staying up late and talking and eating popcorn, right? Those are the moments that are special. For some of us here at camp, it's going in the fire truck for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It could be, but it's those moments that really make things special.
Yeah, and when you said that, it made me think about how in our program we do try to design kind of high mountaintop experiences for the kids, right? So there are a lot of firsts that happen at camp.
Yeah.
So the first time you go sailing, when the Centerport Fire Department comes and sprays us off, it's really, really fun.
Thank you.
Thank you to Centerport Fire Department. The special days, so when we have our Red versus Blue Day or our Carnival Day or whatever those theme days might be, we had an Aliens and Astronauts one, which was really fun. Those are like the high mountaintop moments where we get intense and we have a great time and we're all super excited. But sometimes the best moments at camp are actually just when the kids are just chilling, like
they're
between
around.
Activities,
Yeah.
waiting online. Like I remember a whole line full of campers that were waiting online to the canteen. And they were listening to the music. It was Taylor Swift. And they were just singing the song, like at the top of their lungs while they were waiting for their snack at the canteen. I can think of another one. It was a small group of kids that were actually sitting out of the game at basketball. And you could look at that and you could be like, well, those kids aren't having fun because they're not playing. They're sitting on the sideline. They're sitting in a circle in the grass. And as I was walking by, because I'm a camp director, I want the kids to be engaged, right? As I was walking by and I was thinking, oh, it's too bad that they're not playing, right? And maybe we should engage them a little bit more. Maybe the counselor's not doing their job or whatever it is. That's my perspective, right? I really want them engaged. And as I was thinking that, I saw one of the kids in the group, somebody must have told a joke. Everyone started laughing. One of the kids started laughing so hard, he actually threw his head back and fell back in the grass, just cracking up. And who knows what it was, or if they'll ever be able to remember what that was about. But what they'll remember is that they were together and they were connected.
Yeah.
Right? So when the screens are gone, kids relax. We get to see it every day, right? So maybe your parents don't, but we get to see it. But Badyr, you also know that friendships don't happen by magic.
Nope.
There is work that has to happen. So one of the things that we do is we structure our activities. Our activities and our staff are structured to make sure that connection actually happens. Can you describe that a little bit?
So, coming from a PE background, I could say, yes, the intentionality has to be there. So obviously there's going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's going to be some kind of attention getter. We might try to get the counselors involved. Part of our lesson planning, or our loose lesson planning, is to, encourage the kids. And what are they going to do? They're going to do what their counselor does. Why? Because they buy into the counselor, because they built that relationship and that trust. So what they end up doing is they'll do some kind of introduction. Hi, campers, this is what we have planned to do. They're going to differentiate that plan for the kids that might necessarily want to do something. We don't force anybody to do any kind of skills, but we do it an ease of entry, but high reward. And I know we talked about that a couple of episodes ago, where, hey, we might be doing some kind of dribbling, but there's going to be dribbling that's walking. There's going to be dribbling that's running. There's going to be dribbling that's jumping, specifically at basketball. And it'll be different at soccer. And it'll be different at, volleyball. All of them are different. Then you have your middle piece. Your middle piece is going to be your meat and potatoes, which is going to be the actual game. There's going to be some competition. There's going to be some that's not competition. Whether you're with your friend or with somebody new, you're sharing in that experience for the first time. Or if they're really versed, you might have somebody who's really good paired with somebody who has no idea what they're doing, or vice versa. And for a lot of people, they find it fun. At the end of the day, it has to be fun, right? It can't be like, oh, I have to do this right now. It has to be like, we get to do this. This is fun, right? Whether it's playing soccer with a football, or whether it's I'm at basketball and rather than a basketball, I'm throwing a rubber chicken, like, wee, right? I'm trying to get it into the hoop. Again, it has to be fun. You can still do all the skills, but in a really, really fun way.
Right.
That's not necessarily like 5-on-5, we're gonna win now. Sometimes that could be jarring for a lot of kids. So it's more of like, hey, nice and easy. Oh, you can do this, or you can do that. Or you can do this. At the end of the day, fun. And then, of course, at the end piece is going to be some kind of summation. Hey, I'm so happy you were here. Raise your hand if you guys had a great, like an informal assessment, where it's just like, did you have fun? Give me a thumbs up. Did you have fun? Thumbs down. It kind of gives immediate feedback to the activity counselor. Did I do a good job? Did I not do a good job? Who was engaged? Who wasn't engaged? And I just think having that kind of beginning, middle, and end kind of puts a nice bow on it, and it gives a rough framework of how to be intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of those games are designed to mix the kids up in their groups naturally.
Yes.
So our staff are explicitly trained to scan for safety.
Yes.
But also to facilitate those friendships, and also to intercept the kid that might be isolating themselves on the side. I mean, you can tell when someone's not connecting, right? One of the campers might be sitting by themselves. They're physically positioning themselves in a way to say, I feel a certain way. I don't feel like I'm a part of this. Yeah. Right. So our staff are trained to recognize that, and we give them tips and tricks on how to go over and sit next to them and, just kind of mirror their behavior a little bit. Say, hey, how are things going?
It's just like
exactly right. So that's something that's really important to us, is we want to make sure that the kids do feel connected. Now, that being said, there are always campers that prefer to just take some time and disconnect, right? There could be a lot that's happening at camp in a given day.
Of course.
Right? But because our group counselors are together with a small group of kids all day, every day, they get to know your children really, really well. So they know, well, this child is always isolating themselves every single period on the first day. So this is a clear sign that maybe they're not making the connections that they should, right? They would know the difference between that and, let's say your child is always connected and enjoying different activities, but then maybe after lunch, it got really hot and they're maybe a little bit tired after lunch, and now they're isolating themselves. Or maybe we just had a really intense game of basketball or something, and now you see a kid sitting by themselves. That's a very different reason for that isolation. 100%. So it might look the same out of context, but that's why our counselors are so key. And being together with the kids all day, every day, they understand the full picture of the whole day.
I mean, we're really blessed with our day camp environment to be on the water here at Centerport. And look, Ben, I think you have a great philosophy about what actually makes Camp Alvernia special, and it has nothing to do with the trees and the boats.
No, right. And that's exactly what we've been talking about, right? And it's something that I say, it's something that Badyr says, to anyone, whether parents or staff. And it's basically this, is that we feel like the magic of camp is relational development, right? So we feel like we could run a great camp with a parking lot and a pile of cardboard boxes as long as we had the right staff.
Yep.
Right. And we say that knowing that we do have a big, beautiful 15-acre wooded property on the water here, Centerport Harbor. I mean, this area of Huntington is gorgeous, but we're kind of even tucked into a more quiet and private space where folks that live nearby in Green Lawn and Huntington, like I said, Northport, even Centerport residents. I've talked to people before that have said, I've lived here my whole life. I didn't know there was a summer camp over there, right? If you happen to live in a certain neighborhood where you wouldn't be driving by here, or you're not typically on the water and you wouldn't see that there's a camp over there. That's one of the magical things that we have here. The staff are the ones that make camp special.
Yep.
Despite having this incredible property, the staff are really the ones who make that connection day in and day out.
Yeah, I mean, through the training, through the obviously the experience, and obviously the supervisors who we spend so much time with to help coach them through all the things and making sure that they have the expectations laid out, and obviously the support to obviously find success.
So we have a beautiful property. We have great staff. We have a good routine every day.
Mm-hmm.
We're focused on emotional safety, and we have these Franciscan camp values that serve that mission.
Yes.
That mean that we connect and that we really care about everyday life at camp. It goes back to the Alvernian way. Respect yourself, respect others, respect your environment. We know that your kids want to connect when they're here at camp. They want to be accepted.
Everybody does, yeah.
So we try to provide the most consistent and supportive environment for them to do exactly that here at camp.
Absolutely. You want to obviously trust the process. We're going to help them find their people. Don't forget to be well, and let's get after it.
Grace and peace.